great time.
Many people didn't see Super Mario Bros. Wonder coming back when they announced and released the game in 2023. People had already been writing off the Switch, noticing the amount of remakes and ports coming to the system, and deciding that Nintendo would be shifting its major efforts to the console's successor. That being said, the excellent Pikmin 4 and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom had just come out earlier in the summer, so it's not like the Switch had no momentum. But its holiday release schedule wasn't looking as strong, admittedly. But then, Nintendo decided to come out guns a-blazing for the Switch in October of 2023, dropping the newest and easily freshest 2D Mario platformer in decades, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And Wonder certainly doesn't disappoint. But 1 year in,
yeah, this was supposed to be a 1 year later video, so it was supposed to release in October of 2024, but, well, yeah, here we are.
does it still have the hype value that it once did back near initial release? Is it still being played to the same extent? Let's find out. So if we look at the classic Mario 2D platformers, we can still see people playing the original NES trilogy a good amount. Super Mario World is of course still played often, with speedruns and general appreciation of the game remaining strong. But after Mario World, 2D Mario took a break until New Super Mario Bros. On DS, which kicked off the new series, which certainly had its ups and downs. The games aren't nearly as appreciated as Super Mario Bros. 3 or World are, but they do have their fans, myself included. Really though, for a while, it was Mario Maker 2 that people were playing when it came to contemporary 2D Mario, and even then, that's a fan-level editor and sharer, meaning that it just doesn't quite have the same value as an original 2D Mario campaign. Don't get me wrong, I love Mario Maker, I just don't think it's all that comparable to the core 2D platforming game series. So then, Wonder comes out of nowhere and decides to blast the new series out of the water, choosing not only to incorporate plenty of new wacky power-ups, but also fundamentally change the overall design of the worlds and levels. You collect a Wonder Flower, and boom. Now the level has an entirely new challenge or gimmick to engage with and complete. And, for the most part, these sections are optional, though still important. They usually involve new gameplay mechanics and changes in controls, alongside often trippy and bizarre visuals and sounds. This added element makes every main level in Wonder leave more of an impact, especially when you think about the levels from the new series in comparison. I can recall more specific levels and moments from Wonder than I can from basically any new series game. It's not to say that the new series is bad, or that its levels aren't as good as Wonder's, but Wonder just does more to leave an impact on the player. And leave an impact it has, with more playable characters, more level variety in terms of challenges, length, and aesthetic design, and more overall, just, vibrancy. The game is simply brimming with enthusiasm and charm. It just feels like a torrent of high-energy fun. These days, while the game may not exactly still have the same popularity online as it did closer to launch, it still very much does have a dedicated speedrunning community, and the larger Mario community definitely still appreciates it and continues to hold it in the high regard of being the best 2D Mario since World originally came out in 1990. Wonder has some wicked challenges, plenty of hidden secrets to look for, meaning that it can keep both the casual player and the most hardcore Mario aficionado entertained for a good while. But there is one large lacking thing from Wonder that everyone quickly recognized. The boss fights are just really weak and repetitive. Many of these sections aren't even really boss fights. There are these hallway treadmill challenges where the player has to press a big self-destruction button. Bowser Jr.'s Wonder augmentation fights aren't all that entertaining either. This for me is a weak point for the game, and while I understand that the priority for the game is clearly the level designs, the lack of good boss fights or at least boss fight variety is hugely disappointing. It definitely makes me wonder what the team was thinking. Anyway, if we look past this, Wonder is a serious jewel, innovating and evolving the 2D Mario formula in a variety of fun ways, both mechanically and aesthetically. The sense of true wackiness runs deeper than just trippy Wonder Flower level sequences. This was the game that Nintendo made the Mario Brothers and crew turn into elephants. I love the other new and returning power-ups, especially that drill mushroom, but I'm kind of enamored still with the elephant form. Anytime the characters, aside from Yoshi's and Nabbit, eat the elephant fruit, they're elephants. Okay. For a while around the marketing and launch for Wonder, there was quite the gaming culture swell for the new elephant power-up. Sure, you get all kinds of Mario forms to take on, feeling almost like a 2D Mario Odyssey at times with its capture mechanic, but the consistent new form, for whatever reason, was an elephant. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe the designers just really like elephants? You know, I mean, they are really cool animals. The whole "an elephant never forgets" phrase kinda works well for Nintendo, strutting themselves to remind everyone not to forget the power they still wield with their intellectual properties, software development, and brand awareness. And further in that sense, through the Wonder game direction, Nintendo is also still reminding everyone what makes them such a formidable gaming media force: the company's relentless pursuit of gameplay and aesthetic creativity. Nintendo almost always, when producing a new full-priced game within a major franchise, wants to provide more than just a by-the-numbers sequel that barely innovates. They are concerned with adding at least one or two new gameplay mechanics that directly change up how things work in the game. Innovating the formula means adding to it in ways that don't just aim to refine the predecessor, but also to do something radically new. Now, Wonder isn't all that radically new, nor was it a particularly brave game to produce. Nintendo knows that they could have just as well released another new series title on Switch and made a sizable return on investment, no problem. I mean, look at how well U Deluxe has done despite being a fairly uninnovative sequel and already being out for years before it was re-released. It makes money for Nintendo. But Nintendo is always wondering what could make things not only better, but different in a way that excites potential fans who may have lost a bit of interest in the franchise. They are never truly satisfied with just catering to pre-existing fans. They aim to cast as wide a net as possible for their major releases in their coveted franchises. And that's what they did with Wonder, especially aesthetically. With all the gameplay changes and non-linear world design changes, the first most striking thing people notice about Wonder is how stunningly pretty it is. The soft yet still saturated colors, brimming highlights, and fluid animations all come together to make this flowing and gorgeous collection of visuals. Each character design update we see through the main character models are brilliant and feel unique while not breaking too far away from Nintendo's more official franchise-wide renders. The way characters move with their new animations, complete with smears and other tiny details that make it such a joy to witness in motion, is just delightful. It's such a huge stylistic upgrade from the new series, at least in my opinion. The music has such tremendous instrumental variety, while still having a distinct identity, almost continuing off of the interesting use of a cappella that we see in the new series, and running with it even further. The sounds are atmospheric and surround the player with tone and purpose. It's light and heavy, while still feeling like a complete and unified whole. One thing that I did notice an immediate difference in was how multiplayer is integrated into Wonder. Sure, if you play single player the whole way through, the game is still super fun and entertaining from cover to cover. But if you do play local co-op with maybe 1 or 2 or 3 more players along with you, or you play online multiplayer with the ability to be revived being controlled live by other players if they decide to help you out as a ghost, you're gonna have a good time. Multiplayer being drastically improved for Wonder makes me very optimistic for Nintendo's future online offerings. While Nintendo still has a ways to go with improving their online multiplayer, I do believe they've shown a good amount of evolution in their utilization of it in their software, and Wonder is a prime example of it. It's fun, and without the collision from the new Super Mario Bros. Series multiplayer, not nearly as obtrusive as before. Sure, the other characters are still present, but no longer as much of a physical obstacle for the player character to overcome anymore. The cardboard standees and overall rating count for players is just a hilarious idea and really fun. Wonder has all these awesome and fantastic additions, and quite simply, it's because the game is more fun this way. Like I said earlier, this could have just been a lazy new sequel to tide over Switch owners, but it wasn't and remains a top-selling title. If it had just been another 2D new Super Mario Bros. Series release, I don't think it would have broken the records that it did. So, 1 year later...
Yeah, it's more than a year later. Time management.
Mario Wonder remains a top 2D platforming game experience, while also being the best Mario 2D platformer in decades. The hype was real then, it's still real now, and until we get some kind of successor to Wonder, I can imagine that the hype will go on, continuing to be very real for a great while into the future. Nothing to think about, nothing to ponder. You should definitely play Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Well, you get what I was trying to do. I don't need to justify myself anymore. I think I'm done.